on the same place, but also opening another channel. The other channel is Zoom. We have been using many times during the festival, mainly during the Group Lab invites panel concert. But in fact, we have a great opportunity to get a connection with David Moss. He's in Berlin, so his lecture will be on remote but live. So this is very important to say that he's with us. He's behind me. You see him already ready. He waved his hand. So we are with you. I'm real, but in fact the lecture, the presentation by David is also streamed live. So we are partly live, partly remote. All together we are mixed and we go to your live channel. We are streamed on different platforms, but the audience of this festival are already involved in this. So I don't need to remind information about Facebook, website, Academy of Music, so on, because the conference is the audio art conference produced and coordinated by the Studio of Electroacoustic Music at the Academy of Music in Krakow. So we start lecture from the material. I think I don't need to announce because there's a title on the beginning of the movie. So let's start from the material, from the video material. I should go from the beginning, sorry. Well, that was a nice test, in fact.
What they do is right. And money is a good thing. It can be wonderful. Road drinking, driving around drinking beer. They need me more than I do.
Very good. You should stretch here and there, especially on the words.
Okay.
To bite the words more. It's too polite.
Too polite. Oh, okay. I go great. I'll make it more.
qui sont côté moi.
In fact, we need to stop because of some technical. In fact, I need to apologize mostly the people online, which are on the internet, not the local people, because they are much more secure. But that's something wrong, and I've got the message from the service that is not streamed live. Piotruś, jeżeli możesz włączyć również sieć, żeby sprawdzać, czy to idzie, bo ja w tym momencie już się dławię, jak robię stream przez komórkę i równocześnie na komórce zaczynam sprawdzać, bo to jest... So sorry, David, I think that that's better just to correct than anything else, because it was okay during our check, everything, and it happens sometimes like this.
Jest online. Jesteśmy na żywo.
Ale z czym? Z obrazem? No to jest najważniejsze. Nie co ja mówię, tylko sharing jest najważniejszy.
Aha, okej. Na razie jest tylko obraz. Zaraz kombinacja.
Nie, to jest sprawa Janka w tym momencie. Janku, czy mnie słyszysz? Bo wiesz, ja do ciebie mówię, ty masz włączony mikrofon. Pytanie jest, czy jeżeli włączam ten sharing, to czy ten sharing masz u siebie? No bo sharing ja włączam. Okej?
Road drinking, driving around drinking beer. CDT, more than I
ダンスというのはこれはちょっとモンテ言っちゃうけれど大変じゃないかとかなかなか。
What they do is right. And money is a good thing. It can be wonderful. Road drinking, driving around drinking beer. CDT, more than I
Prometheus. Not the goal of the mouth is the earth. Escalator
Very good. You should stretch here and there, especially on the words.
Okay.
To bite the words. It's too polite.
Too polite. Oh, okay. I go crazy. I'll make it more.
Geschenke, Glas um Glas ich ein, damit nicht Widerspruch. Ich weinte gar nicht, wenn sie schreien, ich will nicht hab genug.
Wer mir beim Trinken
Ich kann verholen nicht.
So, good day, water.
Okay, everybody, it's the last day for singing.
The Precision Bean to the drums and out to progress. Schlafen in der Notenscheine.
Gazman, come to me. Oh, God save her. Gorgeous queen, she's been running. What for? Unbelievable! You could have killed us all. Wait.
You think they prosecute?
What's gonna happen next?
All four of us together would love to see you at the end of the month, end of March, in Bruges.
Was the sound. The sound came in, carrying
messages and words. You see, whenever you walk into a new room, a new place, a passage, a stage, illumination,
Che sarà un delirio, ma con questa persona che si può fare? Cioè,
You're a public menace. You're selfish and irresponsible. People like you are dangerous. Are dangerous. Are dangerous to the environment, to public welfare, to the whole country.
it's something.
Stretching high, start docking on some of them. Lightning down, this calmly standing, only white
A mantra for tomorrow, so that when the aliens come looking for us amid the stones of earth and life, they find the things we loved. So, thanks, Marek. Look at that.
Wait a minute, because
It's a little extra part.
did I stop too early? I think.
It's
Wait a
okay.
minute.
It's over right now, so let it be over. Eh?
Okay, that's your face now.
Okay, thanks.
So that was a 40 years review, but your turn, David. You are on the main screen now. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks, Marek. It's great not to be there and to be there. One of the things I said in that 40 years, some years ago, I hope my sound is coming through right now. One of the things I said was, the sound came in carrying messages and words. And this is kind of one of the reasons that I do this stuff. And one of the reasons I ask the question for myself, mostly, I ask the question, why? And this single little word in English that I grew up with, why, carries so much information, so much density of thought and history and intention, and desire, and a questioning oneself or finding answers for oneself, all inside this word, why. And I became more and more curious about why perform, why choose this moment to do something, the moment in front of people, why devote and spend hours, days, months, and years of your life moving to places where people are gathering to watch or see, absorb or deny what I do. and wondering why is all of this happening, and why am I continuing to do all this music, this sound, this performance? And it's a gigantic question. Maybe it was better for me and lucky for me that I didn't ask why at the very beginning. I might not have started doing anything if I had to wonder about this when I first put drumsticks in my hands as a 12-year-old kid. And I know the answer to why that happened. And it's important to me, that answer. I put those drumsticks in my hands because my father played drums as a young boy, as a teenager, and even in his 20s. And he had an old drum set that we found, my brothers and I found in our basement. And that was his drum set. And he showed us, his kids, how to play this drum set. And in fact, he showed us how to hold the drumsticks. And I remember pretty vividly the action of my father standing behind me, putting his arms around me from behind in order to show me how to hold the drumsticks over the drums. And I know, and I felt that he had incredible pleasure and joy playing drums, talking about drums, thinking about music. And it was one of the few moments in his life that I could see this joy coming directly out. Not the only one, of course, but in my direction. I felt it and connected with music. And this had an incredible effect on me about music, about the jazz music that he loved, and about the idea of the physicality of drumming, carrying power and joy and desire and intensity and curiosity forward into life, and then transferring it to someone else, in his case, transferring it to me and my brothers. In my case, hopefully transferring some of that to other people as I played. So I know why I started playing the drums, and what brought me into music. It was that clear evidence of joy and passion from my father. And after that first impulse took me quite far. I didn't have to ask myself the question for many years. Why am I doing this? Why do I continue to do this? Then there came a point as I began to pursue the virtuosity of being a drummer, a percussionist. Then there came a point when I wanted to play faster and stronger and as fast as humanly possible. And I realized there were some problems. The problems were that at a certain point in moving my hands around the drum set, the objects that I was playing and the energy and oxygen supply that I had in order to play them were no longer in sync. As the speed went up and the movement went up, the oxygen supply in my body and the amount of energy in my body, instead of staying equal or going up, started to sink. And when that happened, the first time I missed a cymbal by a fraction of a centimeter, the first moment I hit an edge of a stick in the wrong place, my muscles in my arms would not have the strength anymore to hold the drumsticks in this delicate speed positioning, and the sticks would fly out of my hands, which was quite unfortunate given that I was searching for a kind of speedy virtuosity, and instead ended up silently frozen with no sticks. So the question was why? To me, why is this happening? And the why became more than just one word. The why became a search. The why was fractured into many questions. Why became what for? What is it about? What is happening? Where is it happening? This became actually a kind of a search for the roots of the word why. I didn't know it at the time, but the simple word encompasses what for. I mean, I found out from Marek, a Polish word for why, dlaczego, and what about, what around, what the thing of what it is, the approximation of the area in auf Deutsch and German, warum. So what around, warum, what is around? And I thought to myself, and I think to myself now, what a beautiful word. It is talking about the borderland of understanding, how you say, the edges, to define this why, which is inside this unknown space, to define why someone does something, or how, why, what it is. You have to understand and touch the edges, the sort of invisible edges of this thing, to define the shape, at least in your mind. And then, you know, inside this invisible question is a certain kind of structure. And this structure is what you are playing with, and that is warum, what around, dlaczego, what is it contained inside this why. And this reminds me of a nice story. I had the luck to have several conversations with John Cage earlier in my life, and at one concert that his music was being played at, he was there, and it was they were playing, his ensemble was playing his pieces, which use the charts of stars, so astronomical star charts, and of course the program booklet described the random process of how John Cage, by some kind of chance, by throwing the I Ching or generating numbers or other ways, chose the events randomly, chose the order, the events, the sounds in a non-notated, non-musically notated way. And yeah, I know how he does this. I knew how he did this, and I met him after the performance. I said, John, so the star charts. He said, oh yes, David. I use those stars. I said, yes, I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, I know that it's a random thing, but there's a lot of stars out there. There are lots of star charts. There's 64 trillion gabillion stars and segments of the sky. You know, how did you generate the algorithm or the random numbers to pick these particular regions of stars? He said, I picked the ones I liked. So I thought to myself, okay, sure. Here he is, he tells me he picks the ones he likes. So actually, many things, in fact, probably one can say, I don't know, most everything comes from a kind of interior memory, wish, life history that then generates desire. And this desire manifests itself in relationship to various objects, various choices, or even various random events. John Cage picked the stars he liked, the star region he liked, and then he made a series of random choices. But still, at the basis was this liking. And this is, for me, an answer to the question of why do we do things? I mean, in fact, each person, each artist, each musician has a personal history, a unique background that nobody else has, and no one else will ever have. That's something we sometimes forget, that we are so, I have to say, in so many ways we are special. But this specialness comes is internal. Nobody feels it but us. So there has to be a linkage between this internal the specialness that we have, that is our memory, is our experience, is our personal filter system, and then how do we, the bringing outward into the world of this personal eccentric system to contact the other people that are out there. How do we go about doing this? We develop, each of us develops a kind of, and obviously a personality, which is our contact system to the outer world. And in music performance terms, we develop what they always called simply a style. I remember when I was a younger kid, I was really searching hard for my style. What the hell? What was my style? Did I have a style? I wanted a style. This style was like, it was waiting out there, and I was going to get this thing if it was the last thing I did. In fact, it's a beautiful illusion, because you can get a style, you can get a way to do things, to express yourself. And as you get this way and these habitual responses, or kind of a virtuosity of communication, you continue to want more and more and better and clearer and other ways to do this, so that you can get further, more complex meaning and interaction across with the people you're dealing with the audience, with your friends, with your colleagues. So the development of style leads to accumulation of habits. Habits are shortcuts which enable you to access pre-planned, preset pathways. So habits are kind of human algorithms in some strange way before you knew the word algorithm. And then the problem becomes when these habits begin to modify themselves into what are labeled as cliches, which a cliche doesn't exist until other people register your habitual system, understand your habitual system, and say, yeah, that's David's cliche, that's David's habits. He does that every time. He runs right over and takes a piece of plastic and That's what David does. That's one of the things. So you develop these habits which help you, make you stop thinking. That's another point that's really part of the why. Thinking or not thinking. Why do many musicians play music? Well, if you ask some people, they'll say, I don't want to think all the time. I don't want to make decisions all the time. I want to play wonderful, incredible, deep, powerful music so I can stop thinking, stop the thinking process. So music and performance become kind of a strange or personal meditation, which enables a person to, they think it enables them to stop thinking. But for me personally, there is no stopping of thinking. There is only a widening of the perceptual universe around you as your thinking process hopefully gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and this very large universe opens up in front of you as a performer, which has been my answer for why Warum Dlaczego? Why do I do this? This moment of performance, why focus all this energy? Why do I fly here and fly there and have jet lag and set up for 4 hours and play for 30 minutes, and sometimes for 6 people, sometimes for 6,000 people? You never know. Why? And it has a simple answer in one way. why is the game of performance widens out into a game of kind of life. And game is a word that I mean in the most, in the biggest way. A game has no winner and no loser. A game has rules that on one level can be obeyed, on another level they can be played with, on a third level they can be changed, on a fourth level everything can be mutated and made upside down so that the game is not at all what you think it is. And when you play music after many years, when you perform after many years, you realize that you are playing with material of time, moments, seconds, minutes, and space, the physicality of your body and the physicality of objects in front of you, and also an interrelationship, a back and forth that is in some way uncontrollable between you and the audience, because I don't control, nobody controls the memory of their audience, of their listeners, of their observers, of their nobody controls. I don't control you right now who are out there listening. I can't do it. Realizing I can't do it is kind of a pleasure. All I can do is go as fully as I can into this multidimensional world where the rules are meant to be played with to the extent that they are flexible. All rules can become other rules. All structures can become other structures. All objects can become other objects. I can simply other objects. I can simply all other objects. I can simply all other objects. Yeah, I can simply all other objects. Yeah, I can simply all other objects. I can simply I can simply all other objects. I can simply wish I can simply wish So this moment when you turn off your delay is a surprising moment. And I try to go beyond in my beyond. It kind of sounds a little bit melodramatic, but I'm looking for a way to access everything I have, which is habits, virtuosity, memory, thoughts, wishes, emotions, which are many and not simply single states like fear or joy or anger or desire or anything, but emotional groupings, I'm trying to, in some way, do what is impossible, which I find is a great exercise to answer questions and to develop new material. Which is why, if you did see that beginning video, you notice me moving through a series of pretty diverse activities for what started as a jazz drummer into a whole other other fields of music and performance and theater and opera. And some of those things I ended up doing would have seemed impossible to me to do as I was beginning. And I'm glad that I did them to experience where the impossible takes me. And the impossible, something that you don't think you can do, or something you even don't want to do, takes you someplace you never imagined. And whether you succeed or not at the impossible, whether I actually do the impossible, which is impossible, I get information back from this trip, from this journey. And the information enables me to go in a different direction, or learn something new, or develop another idea. I'll give you an example. You may have noticed already that when I sing, I have a certain habitual gestural system. So that was in my video. Always a lot of that kind of action going on. So my hands become a kind of a drum set playing independent entity by themselves. And a long time ago, I was singing in an opera, but they wanted me to do the singing that I do, make the energy that I make and the sounds that I make. But the director was very dissatisfied, or did not enjoy my hand gestures. He said this didn't work in the context of the character and in the context of the opera itself. And he said, David, please stop using your hand. You know, director says stop, so you stop. Okay, so I tried to stop, and I was singing, and my hands jumped into the activity without me realizing it. And every time I did that, the director said, stop, stop, stop. I mean, come on, David, we don't want your hands. And I could not stop my hands joining into my work. My cliche had become very clear. And the director was a very smart guy, and he said, David, I'm sending you off to another stage with my assistant, and he will show you what to do. So we went to a different stage, and his wonderful assistant said to me, okay, David, I'm going to give you 2 marbles, round glass marbles, little glass marbles. Put the marbles in your pockets, and put your hands in your pockets, and put your fingers on the marbles. I did that. He said, okay, you feel the marbles? He said, yeah, I feel the marbles. I got my hands in it. Okay. He said, well, okay, now I want you to sing just like you were singing before. But imagine this impossible thing. Imagine that those marbles you have in your pockets are 2 planets, 2 worlds. And each marble has everything, has atmosphere, mountains, trees, animals, life, volcanoes, lakes, everything. And each marble has that, and they're both different. And your fingers are gently, or not, or you like, touching, exploring these worlds. So I put my hands in my pockets. That's a pretty big thing to think about, and I started to do it. And I tell you, it was amazing. Within 30 seconds, I completely forgot about my hands, because I was transforming my system into how can you say it? I was transforming my system into another register. I was transferring my coordinate system, coordinate system of hand moving in front of my face to make gestures like the drum. I was transforming that into the coordinate system of exploring planets the size of marbles in my pockets. And so much information came from this transfer. I was able to sing and even develop some new, different sonic relationships with sound and silence because of this new coordinate system. So this was a way to explore the impossible. And I hope I continue to work on those kinds of things. And one of my oldest desires, which for me was the why of everything. The why do this was to make a sound, to play a music that was like wind in trees. You walk outside, you look at the horizon, and there is a little grove of trees, and the wind is blowing, and you see all the branches and all the leaves and they're all moving, and they all are independently waving and fluttering. And it's almost chaos, but it's not chaos. And you realize that there's something perfect happening, something perfect that is understandable, that is mysterious, is happening in front of you with the wind blowing in trees. And I wished to do this for myself. It's probably impossible, but it's a task that I'm going to keep on working on. It's the why of my why. Do I keep on playing music after almost 50 years? My why is to see if I can get to this wind in the trees and the pleasure of doing that. Now, that is basically the end of my talk. And Marek, why don't we see if anybody wants to ask me anything, and then we can, or talk about anything, or say something, and then we can go to the last video if that is okay with you.
So, yeah, well, the questions part now, because we have also some other material on the end of the lecture. So, do you have a question? Why? Or you have a question? What? Or you have a question? How?
Warum?
Or warum? There's a question. Warum? Mein Deutsch ist sehr schlecht, aber
Warum is the ultimate question. What more can I say but warum? Yeah, I love the word. Warum is like genug. Warum is perfect, and genug is perfect as in terms of words. Sound.
But in fact, it's quite nice because you can answer to warum, you can all answer darum.
Darum, ja.
So this is a kleine, schöne, symmetrische Form.
Yeah, of course. I think
das ist keine Form auf Polnisch.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
dlaczego? I'm wrong. I'm wrong. When we ask dlaczego, we say dlatego.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think that's the same. In fact, yes.
Well, you know, in English, we can say why or
because.
Why, you know, why because.
Why?
Yeah, well,
because that's the answer.
Yeah, but this is the classic children's story, right? The kid asks why, and the parents say because, right? And in fact, this is the primal questioning of the universe, right? No one knows the answer, and no one knows how much is inside the why. So they just completely formalize the question and the answer, and they go out to have something to eat instead. You know.
Well, we can refer to the famous piece of Charles Ives, Unanswered Question. Mm-hmm. So then there were many times evaluated to unquestioned answer or something like that, you know. So, but yeah, that's a game. But of course, we can stay longer and to make this game more philosophical or really deep. And this is the point. So.
Speaking about the unanswered question.
Yeah, exactly. But when we start to...
I love to sing to this music. This music is incredible music. This music stimulates. If someone says to me, take this sound as sound to sing with, this music is why. It generates everything, you know. So that's a beautiful thing when you find a piece of sound or a piece of work or someone whose very existence causes a response. Why and the why not is answered immediately. Eh?
Oh, in fact, there's a beautiful answer. In fact, to many questions which are either wrong or the position in a wrong place with a wrong reference. So this beautiful answer, why not? It's really the story.
Yeah.
Because we have this in advance rhetoric question. It's in many cases a rhetoric question with a negative or pejorative answer, but then the right answer is why not? Why not do it? Things which shouldn't be done. Okay, so that's.
I can tell you. I run into this this question or system quite often, as I am. My work is somehow situated at the edge of many systems, edge of improvisation, the edge of contemporary music, the edge of theater, the edge of operatic, whatever. My work, vocal possibilities. So I'm in the borderlines, and so I try different things. And one time I went to the radio station with a proposal to make vocal improvisations with the work of with pieces from Webern and pieces from Schoenberg from 1910.
Mm-hmm.
And the first reaction of the radio, producers, was really a shock, because this music, not shock at me, not shock at Webern or Schoenberg, but because that music is considered untouchable.
Uh-huh.
It can only be perceived as it is,
Mm-hmm.
Even though their creators are long dead,
Mm-hmm.
and time has gone on in a million ways, and ideas have gone. Even though,
Mm-hmm.
still you are not allowed to touch that music in a different way. So to say why not, I said why not, and they had no answer for this why not except we don't do it. I said, you don't do it, so let's try. So this is for me. There's a glorious field of why nots out there, waiting to be kind of picked. I'll pick the why nots, and I'll give them a try, and I'll see what little avenue, what little doorway I can build into a new sound world, or another mixture of generations of ideas. I imagine if people lived forever, don't you imagine that Webern or Schoenberg would be interested in working with some people today who were born 20 years ago? I imagine that might be the case, and therefore something new and untouchable but touchable would come out from these people. So I like this idea of asking the question why, saying why not, trying the impossible, never failing. You never fail because nobody succeeds 100%, but you generate something, and the generation of something is a joy, and it is a service to the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes these basic questions are also not really synchronized with the situation. That's another story that I like. This is like we're going to the cage, background or reference that when we are trying to integrate different groups of people, academic, non-academic, sometimes they still miss each other, So the question is not proper, in fact, to the material, and then either you are answering by your own way and it's still unanswered, or it's or it's perceived in completely different way.
Yeah.
Because there are words which means different, and that's another story.
Yeah.
Sometimes the answer is like this,
Yeah, sure. I can tell you a story of I could do a whole night of these kinds of little stories, but the music scene that I developed with quite a lot in the early 1980s in New York was a kind of a noise music. They were known as a noise music scene. It was before we used electronics, before there was consumer electronics. So in 1982 there was only some electric piano just about, and there was really no samplers to be used on a consumer basis. so we were all acoustic instruments, with the exception of the guitar, and I played drums, mostly drums at the time, and fast, loud, super fast changing, dry acoustics. Like that. And this sound was never questioned by the participants of this circle. The sound was fast, dry, quick changing, energetic, no genre citations, no sampling of other musics, no obvious emotion. Those were the boundaries of this area of music. So as I, at the time, was developing my vocal work, at the same time as I had my drums at their most powerful level for myself, as I began to introduce my voice into the scene, there were some reactions of the same thing of those radio producers who didn't want me to sing with Webern, like, the human voice is emotional, David. You gotta be careful. You don't want to bring too much emotion into this music, you know, and it's not about emotion. It's about the sound, you know. And I said, my voice is about sound. I don't feel any one emotion. So you can see that the desire to make a system creates rules and forces certain things out, whether you know it or not. And it took a while for vocal work to be integrated into the noise system, and finally it pushed its way in, and vocalists like me could do stuff in that system. But every system which has rules needs a little bit of a tickle here and then, a little tickle, a little come on, try this, see what it's like. You know, we can throw it away if we don't like it, but let's try. You know.
Oh,
yeah. Hi. You can say something if you want, man. Cool. Or we can run the last video if there's nothing more.
I like those silences, and sometimes it's really great to make confusions during the public show.
I have no problem with that. Let me tell you.
Like moving out a little bit the conversation. Okay.
I have no problem making confusions whenever we want. No problem.
No, it's really great, you know, to see you, but you are cut it in this place. So all what you are doing is hidden. So, but yeah, that's great.
You don't have to do anything. You just have to play the drums, right? I mean, like that.
That is what is missing.
Yeah, I know. It's not. You know, I tell you, man. In all the stuff I was talking about, one thing I didn't mention is the practicality of life, which is, for example, if you tune in at 6 o'clock tonight and you watch this premiere streaming of my Twist and Shout performance at your festival here in 1998, you will see me playing a somewhat enlarged, distorted drum set and singing along with it. Well, that drum set and that system, which I developed with electronics and pads and triggers, and that system takes me a good 2 hours, 2.5 hours to set up, and an hour to sound check. So that's 3.5 hours, and then a 30-minute performance or a 40-minute performance, and then an hour and a half to pack up. So, and then I have 40 kilos of stuff to take home with me and back and forth. Now, this was okay. I could do this for 25 years. But you know what happened? Because of real life, I'll tell you, Marek, maybe I'm sure you resonate with this. Real life says that people like us don't have roadies to carry our instruments. We don't have helpers to set up, generally speaking, and we have to carry everything up and down all the stairs, around every place to get to the airplane, get to the taxi, get to the train station. And I'm not complaining. I'm glad I did all this. But in the process of running with 40 kilos of instruments, running to catch a train, or running not to miss a plane, my body was being destroyed.
Support. We need assistance. That's another solution.
Yeah.
You know, or if we think about our instruments which are heavy, of course we can send it in advance. That's like we are doing with the installations and the other stuff. So that's another solution. But no. I'm as you found out, I was okay just in a moment. So that was not that. And we find, I think, a very nice replacement. The only question to you would be if you have time today to join and to see famous David Moss, because he will come to us, you know, today. a little bit younger, and we will share with him, you know. So I think it's a great opportunity to meet yourself. we ran the project Time Machine of our society last year, and we were meeting us, you know, from the past. That was going to the virtual space, and we were there together with us from young time. And
I think that's all.
I think this is the case.
That's all a beautiful thing, and I would be interested to hear myself from 40 years ago, probably 20 years ago. But I tell you, when I would travel and when I get recordings of my concerts, at the end of a concert, the sound man hands me in the old days, a DVD or a CD or a DAT tape, or sends me the stream. Now, one day later, I have this the sound of I have the concert in my hands. And I learned that if I listen to or I watch what I did one day after or the 2 days after, it's actually a terrible emotional experience, because I still have in my mind and brain and body the traces of what happened in that concert. I remember it physically, I remember it emotionally, I remember what succeeded and what didn't work, what did work, and what could be better or worse. And I cannot really hear the concert. I only feel this, tension between what I wish happened and what happened. And I learned to put away work, to put away these recordings for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, put them away, and then listen to them 6 months later. Even now, some things I'm listening to 5 years later, and I say, wow, ooh, that's really interesting. I did that. I can't believe I did that. I never thought of that. I never did it again. Or what an idea. That's when the material becomes, you are watching yourself without being yourself all the time. You know, and then I learned something from that.
No, that's clear. Yeah, in fact, we are running all the time those stories from the past. So the stories which were in between or before the stage, and just the consequences, and also it's a marvelous references, I think. In fact, you know, even that they are full of those, you know, broken stuff, mistakes, and really unexpected things happening all the time, because they are coming all the time. That's also, you have to be sure that we don't, even that you have a very exact plan, then when it happens, it's different.
It's always like this. I mean, the funny thing is, you begin to go through life when you're starting out, you think you control everything. I control the stage, I control the time, I control the sound. And a few years later, you realize you control nothing. Really, you barely control your own body, you know, barely. And the fact that something will work when you think it should work is kind of a miracle, a beautiful miracle, and that's a great thing. And oftentimes, when I'm in the dressing room before a show, before I give especially a solo, I'm in the dressing room, and somebody will knock on the door and say, okay, Mr. Moss or David, you're supposed to go on in 5 minutes. And I say, oh, well, thank you very much. And thanks for telling me. He said, well, I'm really glad to tell you because I wanted to talk to you about my children. You know, they're having some problems with their feet, and maybe you know something about a doctor who can, and they start telling me a story about the problems that their kids are having with their feet 3 minutes before I go on to the stage to play a solo concert, and this is all generating through my mind. I mean, I'm a human being. I don't forget things. You can't forget everything that happens to you. It's all part of the process. So many times I go on stage and my whole beginning of my concert is totally changed because of this event that happened in the dressing room. And I begin I start my story. I start my concert like this. I go, well, you know, I just was in the dressing room, and I happened to meet a guy there, and he was telling me about his kid who has some problems with his feet. I decided the only way to fix this was to add a little bit of you could call it information to his feet. So rhythmic information. So you put a little rhythmic information there. I could go on like that. That's how the beginnings of my concerts would happen, and I had no plan to ever do that, no wish to ever do that, and suddenly there it was. And in fact, if I look at that now, I say, great, David, great. You learned how to control the world by not controlling it at all, you know.
It's okay. I think that we are reminding you that one of 4 other events today, we have a great premiere, YouTube premiere of Twist and Shout. That was the title of the concert.
That was the title, Twist and Shout. And why did I say Twist and Shout? Because it has to do with drumming and singing. Right, not so much because of come on baby now, twist and shout, da, 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 twist and shout, although that is the reference point originally. Yeah.
Super. So we go to the second video. Yes,
sounds good. Thanks, Marek.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. I think that we can even applaud it now. And after the video, we quit. That would be the mysterious, I think, idea.
Okay, Prince Marek, thank you.
Take care, we are in touch.
Thank you.
No i mamy znowu ten sam problem, co przedtem. Bo tam, no wiesz, puszczam ten, no, bo zrobiłem coś takiego, to nie poszło, w związku z tym wrzuciłem ten oryginalny materiał na ekran i on tym bardziej nie poszedł w stream, dlatego mamy, well, we have, I think, the same problem like before. No nie, no robię sharing, wiesz, i w dodatku jeszcze jest problem z przesunięciem tego. Zaraz spróbujemy to jeszcze inaczej zrobić. Dlatego mieliśmy powtórkę wtedy, bo to nie poszło. A widzisz, czyli to nie jest, z tego wynika, Piotr, że to nie jest stream. Bo, a no właśnie, to ja się tym sugeruję niepotrzebnie. A ty nie jesteś podłączony do Zooma. Teraz rozumiem. Kurczę, to znowu zmyła. Nie wpadłem na to. Oj. No dobra. Ale wiesz Piotr, na czym polega? To jest po prostu jakby...
Let's trace it out over there.
It's just a wall in the backyard. But in the right light, all these meaningful things, all these ideas, all these shapes, almost hieroglyphics or geometric mathematical rules cut apart by angles and lines. It's like Italo Calvino said, you need to make a sign. You have to make a sign in space. You have to show you're there. You have to turn the corner and make a presence, because you're actually making a present every time. You're giving what you love, the things from your body, the things from your voice. We read the objects that are there, pointing from past to future, moving forward, looking for more signs. Human play, yeah, that wall, it really says Homo ludens, the human playfulness, the markings, the change of light and color, the play of clouds, the bees in the sky, the smoke coming from that chimney over there, the movement of my hand as it shakes the camera. All of these things etched and danced into the surface deeper and deeper, playful, doing what we love for the future, moving downward, moving sideways, singing with everything we have, a mantra for tomorrow, so that when the aliens come looking for us amid the stones of earth and life, they find the things we loved.
Well, we are still on. No, on zniknął, w tym momencie zniknął.